Hello, everybody. My name is Jean-Luc Tuma, and today I'm going to be presenting my cultural analysis for the company Electronic Arts. We're going to be looking at what makes EA successful, and some of the topics that I'm going to cover in this presentation are a company background, EA's differentiation from its competitors, its drivers of success, and a cultural analysis. For a little bit of background, EA was founded in 1982, and they're headquartered out in Redwood City, California, with Mr. Andrew Wilson serving both as chairman and CEO of the company. They have about 14,600 employees, 71% of which operate outside of the US, which is pretty cool. And in the fiscal year 2026, their net bookings hit a record of about $8.03 billion, which is up 9% from the year prior. EA also just went through a public to private company transition on August 4th of this year when they were bought out by a group of three different companies who bought majority stake and in turn made it private. EA operates on multiple platforms such as console, PC, and mobile devices as well. Some of EA's major brands come from their gaming franchises. Some of the genres that they provide are sports games, first person shooters, battle royales, life simulations, and some racing games as well. Their business model, they sell the games in full at their release, and then all throughout the year, they'll release new in game content that can be purchased by the gamers that generates recurring revenue. They also have a subscription based model called EA Play, which was able to turn one time buyers into monthly members, and it gives them access to a full category of free games that they can play, and also gives them early access to some of their newer releases as well. Now, what makes EA unique? They have ecosystems, not products. What this means is, let's just take, for example, you're an NFL fan and you want to buy and play the new NFL game, Madden NFL 26. Well, since they release a new game every year, you have to buy the new version every year to keep up with the updated rosters, new teams and all of that. And you find yourself playing 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 on and on, and all of a sudden you're in the Madden ecosystem. Another one of their biggest competitive advantage, if not their biggest competitive advantage, is their sports licensing partnerships. They own the exclusive rights to all of the NFL's teams, players, the name, image, and likeness of all these players, and then also in the soccer world, which is the most popular sport in the world, they also own the intellectual rights to pretty much all of the major clubs and all of the major players out there. Their community is the product. So what I mean by this is since they own the intellectual property, the fan base of those sports teams will only play their game. Who wants to play a soccer game where your favorite players aren't featured? So everybody who wants to play a soccer game or an NFL game goes to the EA products. And their scale as well. They have about 120 million players per month between all of their platforms. So why has EA been successful? They have four pillars, which I have already touched on three of them: the intellectual property, their strong retention, and their global popularity. And to build on the adaptation, we're going to look at my flowchart over here. So you have a popular franchise. Let's just take soccer, for example. They have EAFC, that's been a popular franchise for years, and they have a large community. Soccer is the most popular sport in the world, so they have the backing of the community. So throughout the year, they'll release content and they'll release new content often, which will generate recurring revenue, which will be reinvested into their studios to improve the gaming experience. Just to take a little peek inside of EA's workplace culture, they have six main values, which is creativity, pioneering, passion, determination, learning, and teamwork. Um, People who have worked at EA have rated it a 3.9 out of 5 on Glassdoor, and 73% of those employees would recommend working at EA to a friend. They score a 4.1 out of 5 on diversity and inclusion and a 3.9 out of 5 on their work life balance. So, what EA says their goal is in the work environment is to create an environment where creativity thrives, different perspectives are welcomed, and employees are always encouraged to keep learning. They also allow their teams to cross collaborate between studios to bring in fresh perspectives and ideas. So I did my own little bit of research on this just to make sure that what they were claiming is what they were actually practicing. And the employee feedback looks to actually match up pretty well with what EA claims. Um, EA also encourages creative freedom from their employees, so they'll let them kind of put their own creative touch on certain aspects of the game, but it is a little bit regulated since if they go off and create a whole new game mode that doesn't turn enough profit, that's going to be denied. So they have the freedom, but within some boundaries. So when we're looking at their cultures, we have strengths and challenges. I have already touched on the strengths a little bit throughout the presentation, so we're going to look at their challenges. They do have a long chain of command, which slows down decision making. If I'm working there and I have an idea that I want to give to my manager, it'll have to go through a bunch of managers, and it could kind of get lost in that chain. Also, it's reported that there are not too many opportunities for career advancement within EA. So once you kind of get in there, you're kind of stuck in that position for a while. The senior management is only rated a 3.2 out of 5 from the employees. And in 2024, EA let go of about 5% of all employees. And then in the year after, in 25, they cut their team down again by another about 300 to 400 people. But overall, EA does have a highly creative and innovative work environment, and it is actually a great example of a team-oriented culture. But since it's such a large corporation that needs to make money, employees do feel pressured to find the right balance of creativity and satisfying the executive team in terms of generating profit. So, what is the future of EA after going private? I ask myself this: what happens to a company after it goes from a public company to a private company? Well, I feel like it can open more doors. I suggest that since they don't have any more quarterly reports that they have to report to the public, that they can make more detailed developments within their games, and they can have more room to take risk within that space. And although they just went from the pressure of a large public shareholder pressure, that pressure isn't necessarily less now that it's privately owned. It's just a different type of pressure. And as a consumer of their products, what I want to look out for is if EA will reduce their microtransactions, which has been a problem in the community for the customers for a while, and if they will, if their studios will get more creative freedom within their space, and if the jobs will be more stable at EA, and if there will be more opportunities for career advancement. The overall question here is that will the private owners push less for profit and more for creativity, or continue with trying to maximize profit? Some key takeaways on why EA succeeds. There are four main keys to their success: is that it owns its communities and not only its games. So they have the strong intellectual property, and if you mix that with their emotionally invested fans, they basically have a hold on both the fans and the industry, which makes it hard for competitors to penetrate. Their online services convert individuals into communities. So what this means is if I'm somebody who's going to buy Madden and I buy the game and I want to play with my favorite team, the 49ers, I will go also and look into the online modes. And in the online modes, I can meet people and I can join a community and start playing with my friends more often, which boosts retention and can generate some more recurring revenue. Their licensing and scale are basically impossible to copy. They have the rights to all the real leagues and all of the athletes as well, to their name, image, and likeness. And if you couple that with 120 million monthly players, it basically creates an empire of advantages that competitors can't necessarily compete with. Then we look at their culture. Their culture both fuels the work and is what makes it unique. The teams have creative freedom, and I think now that they're privately owned, that space is going to increase and they'll have more freedom to do what they want. But at this moment, the company still does need to deal with their light management challenges and their change in ownership and their struggles with a little bit of turnover. But all in all, EA creates internationally popular products while also hosting some of the largest communities. And this is all centered around their workplace culture and trying to balance their profits with creative ideas. Thank you guys for watching. Here are my sources for the information on this slideshow. And I'm looking forward to watching your guys' videos too. Have a good one, and I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Goodbye.